This is going to be a bit of a smaller one-off conversation and includes something that I am forced to be familiar with given the circumstances that I can't control. So you're going to hear a lot about ableism. Even now, it seems to wiggle itself back into discussion, and unfortunately I come to talk about it again, concerning CBM, now known as Astral Star, who made an ableist post using a slur and other phrases. This isn't the first time Astral has been ableist. She has been called out previously for using another ableist slur, as well as being inherently ableist towards me during our conversations. Reminder, Astral Star has previously stated that she would be improving. This, if it wasn't obvious enough, is not an improvement. It is repetitive, harmful behavior. Once again, how many times is somebody going to repeat the same behavior until we get tired of it? Given the context, I decided to make a community post about this, which is what we'll be talking about today. User known as Mizu made a comment under this post, who people are already suspecting of being another alt account, stating that he herself uses the same harmful language, while claiming to not be ableist, which totally and definitely isn't an oxymoron, and we're definitely not going to see more of that within this conversation. She states unnecessary false claims, which would have already been disclosed. I told him specifically not to get involved with the situation, considering that a claim like this would be a form of ignorance. Instead, she starts to make more excuses for Astral, within that basically forcing me to forgive her actions and trying to hold some type of moral superiority complex over me. Also stating that Astral had some form of growth despite the fact that this post shows the opposite in broad daylight, missing the mark entirely on what this conversation was about. Another commenter would disagree with her, stating that this was a lack of common sense, which given the initiative, that would be objective. Trying to make excuses for an individual while being in the same boat as them, using an ableist slur, which is dehumanizing language, on a post where it very much displays that this is not the first time this has occurred, then forcing a disabled child to forgive them, and inherently telling them that they shouldn't have called the person out, while also trying to simultaneously blend in with the same minority. This is extremely creepy. I feel like I don't even have to point that out, this is just objectively creepy, which is why I wanted to talk about it. Being someone who's experienced ableism all my life, I don't have a tolerance for people who try to silence us, especially if they're trying to have some moral superiority complex. To anyone, it comes off as disrespectful and disgusting. Cruelty isn't something you can cherry pick. Harm is harm, whether you want to realize it or not, and we should have the right to speak up against it, because ultimately it hurts others, whether you want to realize it or not. Making up some form of justification over circumstances because you are projecting onto this random person, to force somebody who is medically recognized to forgive this random person, is objectively weird, because why do you feel like you have some form of authority over someone you don't know? This type of behavior ultimately puts a bad reputation on those who are questioning or self-diagnose, because of the fact that you're putting disabled people down simply to fill some type of hole. It makes us lose trust in those type of individuals, simply because behavior like this looks malicious, forcing a disabled person to agree with you while exhibiting the same behaviors, the same act of cruelty. Ultimately, it's just nasty, because the fact that things like these are wrong should be obvious. At this point, you're just lying through your teeth, in order to make others sympathize with you. It's embarrassing enough that you felt comfortable saying this, especially in a disabled person's comment section.